Hello students. So in this video we are going to solve the exam paper from the year 2019 of class 8 NSO. We'll solve the set B and the second set of questions, which is questions 26 to 50. Like in any other videos, you learn the quickest method to solve the question. If the question has got multiple sub questions, you don't need to solve all of them. The answers also have got the science fundamentals and concepts with some interesting facts and images. And these videos will also help you in your class 8 school exam, so you may want to like and subscribe to my channel. Okay, the first one, few materials are listed in the given box. Select the incorrect statement regarding these materials. Materials 1 and 4 are derived from natural sources, which is true, isn't it? 1 is cotton and 4 is jute, which are from plant. Materials 2 and 5 contain linear polymer chains and become soft on heating, which is also true. Polythene and terylene, they are thermoplastic. They become soft on heating, isn't it? And materials 3 and 6 have polymer chains with crosslinks which help them change shape on heating. Now 3 and 6, bakelite and melamine, they are thermosetting plastics, isn't it? You may have got melamine dishes at home which are thermosetting. Once you heat them and once it forms a shape, then you once you if you reheat them, they will simply burn. They will not change their shape, isn't it? So C is incorrect. C is the incorrect one. 27, a group of class 8 students categorized a few elements as shown in the table. Which characteristics in or are correctly matched for all the elements? So A is uh, A and E. So let's see. A is metals, potassium is metal, zinc is a metal, and then iron is a metal, copper is a metal. So A is correct. Uh, then let's see B. What is B? Phosphorus hardness. B is incorrect. Why? Because phosphorus is not hard. Phosphorus is not hard. It is very soft element, isn't it? So this is incorrect. Malleability. What is malleable? Phosphorus is not malleable, isn't it? It's a very soft element. It is not malleable. Malleable is basically you can form thin sheets, like gold is malleable. You can form very thin sheets of gold because used for gold plating. But phosphorus is not malleable. Ductile. What is ductility? Copper is not ductile, isn't it? Copper is not ductile. Copper also is, sorry, carbon is not ductile, isn't it? Carbon is absolutely not ductile. And E, conductor of electricity. Phosphorus cannot conduct electricity. Phosphorus is a bad conductor of electricity. So again, B, C, D, and E are incorrect. Only correct option is A, metal. Potassium, zinc, iron, and copper. They're all metals, isn't it? So only A is correct. Observe the given figure showing the mixture of chemicals in 4 different test tubes. Okay, which of the following statements is or are correct? H2 gas is evolved in test tube 1. What is the reaction is in test tube 1? It will result in magnesium chloride and hydrogen gas. When dilute hydrochloric acid is mixed with magnesium, the reaction is it produces magnesium chloride and hydrogen gas is evolved. Test tube 2 will burst as a large amount of heat is evolved, which is false because with this figure shows the correct dilution of acid. You have to take large quantity of water in a test tube and then you have to add the acid drop by drop. This is the dilution of acid. You have to add the acid drop by drop. The test tube will get heated, but very slowly, extremely slowly, because you are diluting the acid very slowly, isn't it? It will not burst. It will not burst immediately. So 2 is false. No reaction will take place in test tube 3. Again, it is false. HCl in calcium carbonate. HCl in calcium carbonate will form calcium chloride and then CO2 and H2O gas will get evolved. The calcium will displace the chloride ions, and calcium chloride will form, and carbon dioxide and water vapor will be carbon dioxide and water will be formed. In test tube 4, yellowish green chlorine gas is evolved, which is false, isn't it? So 4 is HCl plus copper, and no reaction will take place because copper is below hydrogen. Where is hydrogen? Hydrogen is here and copper is below hydrogen. So no reaction will take place. Again, you may want to learn this, a very nice way of learning the reactivity series, which is from onlinemathlearning.com. So please stop calling me a careless zebra. Instead, try learning how copper saves gold. A very nice statement to learn this reactivity series. Read the given statements and select the correct option. Coal, charcoal, and cow dung cakes are inflammable substances. Now, coal and cow dung may be inflammable, but charcoal is not inflammable. Charcoal is basically burnt wood, isn't it? Semi-burnt wood, which is not inflammable. It does burn, but it just will glow. It will just glow. There is no flame in that. It is not inflammable. Inflammable substances have high ignition temperature. No, isn't it? Inflammable substances have low ignition temperature. Petrol, it's highly inflammable. You may see that the petrol tankers on the highway, and on the tankers it is written highly inflammable. So it burns at a relatively lower temperature. A brief information about substances X, Y, and Z is given here. First is X is a gaseous fuel obtained by strong heating of coal in the absence of air. So again, this is called as destructive distillation, isn't it? Heating of coal in the absence of air. So when coal is heated in the absence of air, what is formed? In the water, you will form the ammonia liquor, and then coal tar is basically collected at the bottom. And what is evolved? Coal gas is evolved, isn't it? And ammonia liquor is NH4OH. The formula is NH4OH. So a gaseous fuel. Coal gas is a gaseous fuel, which is true. A thick black liquid having an unpleasant smell obtained by heating coal in the absence of air, which is true, isn't it? So why is a thick black liquid and ammonia liquor, it is having unpleasant smell, is obtained by heating coal. Z is a tough and porous black solid prepared by heating coal in the absence of air. Coal tar, which is tough and porous black solid, isn't it? Coal tar normally is used for making of roads because it is tough, isn't it? It is tough. And which of the following statements is incorrect? X is a mixture of methane, hydrogen, carbon monoxide, and some other gases, which is true. Coal gas, mixture of methane, hydrogen, carbon monoxide, and other gases. Y is a mixture of about 200 substances. Ammonia liquor is NH4OH. It is not a mixture of 200 substances, isn't it? So B is incorrect. Z contains almost 95% carbon. Coal tar, it contains about 95% carbon, which is true. X is used as a source of heat, while earlier it was used for lighting purposes. So, which is true. Coal gas nowadays is used as a source of heating. Normally in turbines, isn't it? In boilers, they used coal gas so as to heat the water, which will then turn the turbines for making electricity. But earlier, coal gas was supplied in towns, isn't it, for lighting, for street lamps. It was supplied in towns so as to for street lamps. Nowadays, the street lamps are all electric, but earlier the street lamps were coal. They were lit by coal. Question 31. An unknown metal X, when placed in copper sulfate solution, red-brown pieces of copper fall to the bottom of the test tube. When metal X is placed in aluminum sulfate solution, no change is observed. So metal X should be less reactive than aluminum, isn't it? So unknown metal X, when placed in copper, red-brown pieces of copper. So what is more reactive than copper? Iron is more reactive than copper, isn't it? Iron is more reactive than copper. Where is iron? Iron is here and copper is here. Iron is more reactive than copper. So iron is the correct option. And when metal X is placed in aluminum, So that metal should be less reactive than aluminum. So aluminum is here and iron is here, isn't it? Iron is less reactive than aluminum, and hence when iron is placed in aluminum sulfate, it cannot displace the sulfate ions because aluminum is more reactive. Aluminum will keep on holding the sulfate ions, and iron will not be able to displace the sulfate ions from aluminum. So iron is the correct metal X. Consider the following statements. Washing soda is an acidic salt, whereas baking soda is basic salt, which is false, isn't it? Washing soda is a basic salt, Na2CO3, it is a basic salt. Tamarind juice does not change color of red litmus solution, which is true, because tamarind is tartaric acid, and it will not change the color of red litmus. Slaked lime neutralizes acidic nature of the soil, which is true. CaOH2, which is calcium hydroxide, which is a base, and it will neutralize the acidic nature of soil. Slaked lime will neutralize the acidic nature of soil. Milk of magnesia is acidic in nature, which is false. Milk of magnesia is magnesium hydroxide, MgOH2, which is a base. So 1 and 4 are incorrect, and 2 and 3 are correct. Observe the given process and select the correct option. The given process becomes faster when humidity is high in atmosphere, which is true, isn't it? Moist air is humid, and the iron nail will rust even more because humidity will quicken the process of rusting. Okay. The process that represents a reversible chemical change. No, rusting is not reversible. Once it is rusted, it cannot be changed back. The change can be reversed by galvanization. No, absolutely not. Change is irreversible. Correct option is A. Refer to the given figure of female reproductive system and select the correct statements regarding W, X, Y, and Z. What is W? W's are ovary. Ovary isn't ovaries. They secrete estrogen and progesterone, which are responsible for secondary sexual characteristics. And then what is X? X is the fallopian tube. What happens in the fallopian tube? Okay, the fertilization of ovum. It happens in the fallopian tube. And then what is Y? Y is the uterus. In uterus, the development of fetus and implantation of embryo. It happens in uterus. And Z, what is Z? Is vagina. Isn't it? Z is vagina. So fertilization of ovum takes place in Y, which is false. Fertilization of ovum takes place in fallopian tube. It doesn't take in the uterus. Development of fetus takes place in Z, which is false again. Development of uterus takes place in the fetus takes place in the uterus. It doesn't take place in vagina. X is the site of implantation of embryo. Fallopian tube is not the site of implantation of embryo. What is the site of implantation of embryo? Uterus. And W controls secondary sexual characters in females, which is true because ovaries. W are the ovaries. They secrete estrogen and progesterone hormone, which are responsible for secondary sexual characteristics in females. So only D is the correct option. The rest all options are false. Take a beaker and fill half of it with water. Put some wheat seeds into it, stir it, and wait for some time. Which of the following holds true regarding the observation and interference of this experiment? Healthy seeds being lighter float on the surface of water, which is false because healthy seeds, they are heavier, isn't it? They are full of life, or they are heavier, and they'll sink at the bottom. They still have the nutrients to germinate. So that's why they are heavier. Damaged seeds being lighter float onto the surface of water, which is true because damaged seeds are dried out seeds. They cannot germinate. So they will float onto the surface of water. Some healthy seeds and some damaged seeds float on the surface of water, which is false because normally what it floats on water is damaged seeds, which are dried out or which are missing some components. So they will float on water. And damaged seeds being heavier, no, damaged seeds are lighter. Damaged seeds are not heavier. Read the given paragraph. Organism P has leathery lips and big hump on its back. So P is a camel. Organism Q has thick layer of subcutaneous fat and dense fur, polar bear, isn't it? And R is brightly colored and has long and large colorful beak. R could be a toucan, isn't it? Which of the following does not hold true? So, which is the incorrect organism? P secretes very little water. Camel, it should excrete very little water because it is a desert animal and it needs to conserve water. Q undergoes hibernation in extreme conditions. Polar bear in winters, they hibernate for at least 5 months, 6 months. They'll hibernate. R has poison glands on his skin. Toucan doesn't have poison glands. If it has got a long and colorful beak, it it's normally the birds have got beaks, but it doesn't have poison gland. Normally the poison dart frog will have poison glands, but toucan doesn't have poison gland. So C is the incorrect option. Consider the following statements and select the option that correctly identifies true and false. Thyroxine hormone is released in the body at the time of stress, which is false. Because what is the stress hormone? Cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone. So first is false. Hermaphrodite animals have separate male and female individuals, which is again false. Hermaphrodites is both the reproductive organs in the same individual. Is it? Earthworms have got both the organs in the same specimen. One earthworm will have both male and female reproductive organs, or snails. Animals which lay eggs are called viviparous, which is again false. Viviparous are animals which give birth to young ones, and oviparous animals they lay eggs. So third is false. Parathyroid hormone regulates the calcium and phosphate balance of in the body, which is the true statement. So first three are false, the last is true. Rahul conducted an experiment as shown here. Sunlight, then there is a inverted glass tube, then there is a inverted glass funnel, and here there is a water containing NaHCO3, NaHCO3, and there is a hydrilla plant and support to keep the funnel. So there are supports here. Which are the following statements is incorrect? Hydrilla plant cannot photosynthesize as CO2 is not available, which is incorrect, because hydrilla plant can absorb the CO2 from NaCO3. Can NaCO3 is bicarbonate of soda, and hydrilla can absorb carbon dioxide from bicarbonate of soda. So the first one is the incorrect statement. NaCO3 present in water provides CO2 to the plant, which is true. That's why the hydrilla plant can conduct photosynthesis. So sunlight can reach the plant properly, which is also true, because everything is transparent here. Glass, this is a glass beaker, this is a test tube, again this is a glass funnel. So sunlight can reach the plant. Bubbles produced in water within the test tube are mainly of oxygen gas, which is also true, isn't it? Because when plant photosynthesize, they absorb carbon dioxide and they release oxygen, and that's why plants are healthier to the environment. They are healthier to the earth because they absorb carbon dioxide, which is a harmful gas, and the plants release oxygen, which is necessary for supporting life, animal life. Refer to the given ultra structure of a plant cell. So what are all the organisms? P is a cell membrane, isn't it? So P is a cell membrane which controls the transport of material. It controls the transport of materials like solutes and water, and it provides strength and support. Also, it provides strength and support as well. S is known as the secretory organ. What is S? S here is endoplasmic reticulum. This is endoplasmic reticulum, which is calcium storage and protein synthesis. So 2 is incorrect. Endoplasmic reticulum is not known as the secretory organelle. Which is the secretory organelle? It is Golgi apparatus. Q. Golgi apparatus, which is factory in which proteins are processed, is called as a secretory organelle. Q synthesizes proteins and lipids and serves as a transport channel for materials to pass. Golgi apparatus, it does synthesize proteins, but it does not synthesize lipids. Lipids are synthesized in plastids, and it is not a transport channel for materials. What is a transport channel for materials? Cell membrane. Cell membrane is a transport channel for materials, solids and waters. And R is absent in animal cell. Chloroplast, they are absent in animal cell because chloroplast they convert light energy into chemical energy via photosynthesis. Animals do not photosynthesize, so chloroplasts are absent in animal cells. Refer to the given table and identify L, M, N, and O. Okay. So Kaziranga National Park, what is available? What do you see in Kaziranga National Park? One horned rhinoceros. You must have seen this on the Discovery or National Geographic channel. And uh, Dati Dachi Gam National Park. Kashmir stag is seen in the Dachi Gam National Park, which is in Jammu Kashmir. Sundarban National Park, what do you see in Sundarban National Park, which is Royal Bengal Tiger. So you just have to basically choose the ones which you know. You may not know this Dachigam National Park, but what you know is Kaziranga, there is rhinoceros. So Kaziranga rhinoceros and Sundarbans, it is a Royal Bengal Tiger in Sundarban. So rhinoceros and Royal Bengal Tiger. So option B is the correct option. And again, Asiatic lion, which is only available in the seen in the Gir National Park. Asiatic lion in the Gir National Park. Refer to the given figures showing seeds, fruits of different plants. So select the option which contains the plants that can correctly replace. So first is a coconut. It looks like a coconut. So this is more of a coconut is basically dispersal by water. Two is dandelion. Looks like a dandelion dispersal by wind. And three has got this prickly thorns. So it is basically dispersal by animals, isn't it? So what is the correct mode? So water dispersal, lotus water dispersal. Calotropis basically wind dispersal and urana is basically by animals. So animal dispersal. So option D is the correct option. You can just remember lotus because in lotus it grows in water and coconuts also normally the seeds, the coconuts are dispersed by water dispersal only. So option D is the correct option. Read the given statements and select the option that correctly fills the blanks in any two of these statements. So, dash is the only naturally occurring natural mineral fiber. So, asbestos is the only naturally occurring mineral fiber. And mohair is obtained from what? We will not solve this. And the process of unwinding the silk filaments from cocoon, combining them to make a thread of raw silk is called reeling. You are reeling in the silk from the cocoon fibers. So A is asbestos and C is reeling. C is called reeling. Select the incorrect statements. Anthrax is a bacteria disease that affects both humans and cattle, which is correct, isn't it? Anthrax is very a deadly bacteria. It affects humans and cattle. Rust of wheat is a fungal disease that spreads by air, which is also true. Citrus canker is a viral disease that affects citrus fruits. It is a disease, but it is not a viral disease. It is a bacterial disease. It is caused by bacterium Xanthomonas citri. It is a bacterial disease. So C is incorrect. And yellow vein mosaic is a viral disease that affects ladyfinger, which is also true. Which of the following will help in controlling air pollution? Use of bicycles instead of cars. Yes, it will help in controlling air pollution because you are not emitting any harmful gas. Spraying of pesticides in agricultural fields, no, it is not that good. Pesticides, they contain harmful substances, harmful gases, so they will pollute the air. Use of unleaded petrol and smokeless fuels like CNG and LPG. Yes, it will help in controlling air pollution because CNG or LPG are cleaner fuels. They're called as clean fuels as compared to uh, not diesels and kerosenes, isn't it? Use of CFCs in refrigeration and air conditioning. No, chlorofluorocarbons in 1980s and 1990s, CFCs were banned because they are responsible for depletion of the ozone layer. Chlorofluorocarbons are responsible for the depletion of ozone layer. They are bad for the environment. So one and 3 only are good for the environment. 2 and 4 are bad for the environment. Refer to the given figures of bacteria P, Q, R, and S and read the given statement. So P is Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which causes basically TB. Is it? Q is Streptococcus pneumoniae. Q is Streptococcus pneumoniae, which cause pneumonia. It causes pneumonia. And then uh, R is Treponema pallidum, which causes syphilis. And S is Lactobacillus. S is Lactobacillus, which converts lactose sugar of milk into lactic acid. So one is bacterium P can be cause of tuberculosis. P does not look like this. TB bacteria looks like capsules. So one is incorrect. Bacterium Q can cause pneumonia. So pneumonia bacteria looks like this globules. They don't look like this. So 1 and 2 are incorrect. Bacterium S can convert lactose sugar of milk into lactic acid, which is true, isn't it? So lactobacillus, it converts lactose sugar of milk into lactic acid, and bacterium R can be the causal organism of syphilis, which is true. Treponema pallidum, it causes syphilis. So 3 and 4 are correct, and 1 and 2 are incorrect. The figure shows a girl weaving a rod placed in front of a plane mirror. When the cardboard is removed vertically upwards, which points will be seen first, isn't it? So which points will be seen first? Z will be seen first, because the rays reflected from Z will reach the girl first, and then Y. Then Y, isn't it? Because you're removing the cardboard like this in the vertical direction upwards. So Z will be seen first, and then Y, and then what will you see first? Then X. Then you'll see X. So it is as good as seeing your reflection in the water. When you see reflection, first you see your head, then the other portions, isn't it? Okay. Then next, read the given paragraphs where few words have been italicized. Okay, so preparation of soil in a field before sowing of seeds involves two steps: broadcasting and leveling. Soil in the crop field is enriched with nutrients by adding manures and fertilizers. Crop fields need to be irrigated from time to time. In sprinkler system of irrigation, water is allowed to fall drop by drop from a pipe, which is incorrect. So that is drop by drop is basically drip irrigation. And plant roots where drip irrigation water escapes from revolving nozzles. So in drip irrigation, water does not escape from revolving nozzles. It is in sprinklers, isn't it? It is in sprinklers. And weeding in the crops can be done using combine. And after the crop is harvested, the grain is separated from the crop. Cut crop using a machine called as thresher. Select the incorrect statement. So broadcasting should be replaced by tilling. This is not. This is basically a correct statement, isn't it? So broadcasting should be replaced by tilling is a correct statement. Positions of sprinkler and drip irrigation should be interchanged, which is true, because sprinkler, it basically disperses water by revolving nozzle, and drip irrigation by drop by drop. And then broadcasting is basically you are sowing seeds by just throwing it on the soil. So broadcasting is basically throwing it by the soil. And thresher should not be replaced. It is correctly mentioned, which is also true. Thresher is correctly mentioned, because thresher is basically you are separating the grain from the cut crop. Combine should be replaced by harvester, and it is incorrect, isn't it? Combine should it is incorrect, because normally you are also weeding the soils using combine as well. You are weeding the soils using combine as well. So this should not be replaced by harvester. So this is incorrect statement. And A, B, and D are A, B, and C are correct statements. Broadcasting should be replaced by tilling. It is a correct statement. And because preparation of soil, it happens by tilling. It is not broadcasting. Broadcasting is sowing of seeds. But for preparation of soil, you are basically tilling and leveling. You are doing tilling and leveling. Sprinkler and drip irrigation we saw, and thresher should not be replaced. So which is correct, because thresher used for separation of grain. Rakesh fires a gun 160 meter from a cliff, and Ashok, who is standing 320 meters away from the cliff, hears the gunshot. Dash second after he sees the flash. You know how much second after he sees the flash? So Ashok is standing here and Rakesh is here. What is the speed of sound? 343 meters per second. So for roughly 320 meters, it will take 1 second. So Rakesh will hear the sound 1 second after he sees the gun flash. And Rakesh, and the speed of light is extremely fast, 3 lakh meters per second, isn't it? Rakesh will hear the echo from the cliff dash second. So echo is basically it travels, the sound travels 160 meters, then again 160 meters, and then 320 meters. So 160 plus 160 is 320, plus 320 is 640, which is roughly, it takes roughly how much of time? So because the speed is 343 meters per second, for the sound to travel 640 is roughly takes 2 seconds. It will take 2 seconds. So the echo will be heard in 2 seconds, and dash second respectively after 4. So dash second is 1 second after hearing the, after 4, which is after seeing the flash. So which is 1 second after seeing the flash. So option A is the correct option. So echo is heard after 2 seconds. First one is basically Ashok will hear the sound after 1 second after seeing the flash. Refer to the given nitrogen cycle occurring in nature. So what is the nitrogen cycle occurring in nature? First is nitrogen fixing. First is ammonification and nitrification. So process one is ammonification and nitrification, where the nitrogen content and ammonium content is in the soil is fixed by nitrifying bacteria. Second, two is nitrogen in atmosphere. Nitrogen in the atmosphere, where the denitrifying bacteria, they'll convert the nitrates into nitrogen in the atmosphere. Process 3 is basically by the nitrogen fixing bacteria. They will fix nitrogen to the soil. They will fix nitrogen to the soil. And the fourth is, process 4 is basically when the plants and animal matters, they decay, it the nitrogen waste, the compounds of nitrogen in the soil. Process 4 is basically the compounds of nitrogen in the soil, they are absorbed by plants, isn't it? They're absorbed by plants, which is called as assimilation. So first is ammonification or nitrification, where the decomposed matter, the nitrogen elements are absorbed in the soil. Second is denitrification, where the nitrogen is converted into atmospheric nitrogen. Third is nitrogen fixing, where by means of the plants, when they absorb, when they photosynthesize in the roots, basically nitrogen fixing bacteria in the root nodules of legumes, they will fix the nitrogen in the soil, uh, And fourth is assimilation. In assimilation, basically what is happening is the plants, they'll absorb the compounds of nitrogen in the soil. Plants will absorb the compounds of nitrogen from the soil. Plants don't absorb nitrogen from the air, isn't it? It is basically nitrogen is absorbed from the soil by the plants. So which is the correct statements? In process 4, plants absorb inorganic nitrogen compounds from the soil and convert them into organic compounds. They convert them into organic compounds, carbon and all. So option B is the correct option. Rest all options are incorrect. So process 2 represents the conversion of ammonia and into nitrates. What is process 2? It is denitrification, isn't it? So denitrification, which is where the ammonia is converted into, where the nitrogen in the soil is converted to nitrogen in the atmosphere, isn't it? So first is incorrect. Process 1 represents the conversion of nitrates to free molecular nitrogen. No, process 1 is basically ammonification. You are making nitrates, and it is not basically conversions of nitrates to free molecular nitrogen, which is basically denitrification. So process One is not denitrification. And process 3 represents nitrogen fixation by nitrosomonas. So process 3 is basically nitrogen fixing, but nitrosomonas, it helps in nitrification. It helps in nitrification, is it? It helps in process 1 and not process 3. So, and nitrogen fixing bacteria are azotobacter and bacillus. And nitrogen fixing bacteria are azotobacter and bacillus. They are not nitrosomonas. Okay, last one. Observe the following experimental setups carefully. So, no reaction will happen in 2, 4, and 5. So, in 2, 4, and 5, no reaction will happen. What it means in 1, 3, and R reaction will happen. So if 1, 3, and R reaction happens, so Z is more reactive than U, isn't it? So Z is more reactive than U. V is more reactive than X. V is more reactive than X. And Y is more reactive than W. Y is more reactive than W. And because no reaction happens in 2, 4, and 5, so W is less reactive than X. W is less reactive than X. V is less reactive than U. V is less reactive than U. And Y is less reactive than Z. Y is less reactive than Z. Here it is. Y is less reactive than Z. Okay. So now we have to basically write the equation. So what is the equation? W is less reactive than X, isn't it? W is less reactive than X. Y is less reactive than Y is more reactive than W, isn't it? Y is more reactive than W, which is true. Y is more reactive than W, which is true, and Y is less reactive than Z. So, but first write U is less reactive than Z. U is first less reactive than Z. V is less reactive than U, isn't it? And Y obviously is less reactive than Z. Y is obviously less reactive than Z. We will write here Y is less reactive than Z. Y is less reactive than Z. Here Y is less reactive than Z, and that's why no reaction will take place. So V is more reactive than W, which is true, isn't it? V is more reactive than W, which is true, but less reactive than U. V is less reactive than U. V is less reactive than U, which is true. So A is less reactive than U, X is less reactive than U, but more reactive than Z, which is incorrect, isn't it? X is not more reactive than Z. X is less reactive than Z. X is less reactive than Z. W and X's are more reactive than V. W is not more reactive than V. W is less reactive than V. Z and W are less reactive than Y. No, Z is more reactive than Y. Z is more reactive than Y. Z is more reactive than Y. And that's why no reaction will take place here. No reaction will take place here because Y cannot displace the ions, isn't it? So Y is less reactive than Z. So with this, students, and so that the only correct statement is option D. V is more reactive than W. V is more reactive than W, but less reactive than U. So only your correct option is option D. So with this, students, we have come to the end of the Class 8 NSO exam paper from the year 2019, set B, the second set of questions, which is questions 26 to 50. And you may want to like and subscribe to my channel for getting more videos like this. Thank you, students. Thank you. Bye-bye.